For those unaware, while I was in South Australia, I visited a number of junkyards and picked up quite a few 124 parts. This is a fan speed switch I'm testing here, just making sure that all four positions are passing current correctly, and this one tested perfectly, so this was a good score. The one in the car, unfortunately, never works in position 2. Position 2 works exactly like position 1. So the second contact will not be making contact properly. It progressively closes more contacts the higher up it goes. It's not just closing one at a time. Hence, if a contact isn't working, the speed below will continue being the current speed when you set it to the higher speed, which isn't working. So this is how it's working in my car currently. I don't have a speed position 2. It's always just either 1 or 3 or 4. 1 is not enough on a hot summer's day, and 3 is too much. I get frozen hands and it's too noisy. So 2 has been dearly missed. So I decided to finally rectify this issue by swapping out the fan switch. I have had it out in the past and cleaned it, but that's not the issue, unfortunately. There is also a vacuum leak, and it's not the switch, it's not the way it's connected. I was hoping it was. It is unfortunately the pods. This manual system is extremely basic. As far as I'm aware, there's only 2 pods, and they are the ones that aren't working. So I'm going to have to change those in my red project as well. Just a demonstration, if you haven't got a 124, it's extremely pleasurable touching these switches. It's a very tactile experience. Clicky, and you can feel it as well. I wish they still made cars like this. Unfortunately, they don't. Enough of that nonsense, and down to work. If you haven't taken one of these manual panels out before, on these earlier cars, this is the procedure. So you remove the knobs and then the nuts that are securing the centers of those devices, and you've also got these 2 screws underneath. I noticed on facelift cars those screws are not there, presumably to make it easier to remove that panel when you have a larger face on the stereo. Can't think of any other reason why they've deleted them. You do need 2 hands to remove that wood, that's why I didn't show it. And then it's just the 4 screws at the top of that panel around the switches, and then that comes straight out. So those are removed, the operation panel comes out, it's just got the central connection there, and then there's this backing plate that locks in place, but it also locks in the 2 switches as well. They just need to be pushed to the side, and then they can be pushed back. That's just a demonstration of the LED backlighting that I've done in this. Obviously it's not going to be to everybody's taste. It's probably not even to my taste anymore, but it works, so I'll leave it. And that backing plate does have keys on the left and right hand side. You just need to push those out of their locking positions, and it just comes straight out. The fan switch has the one and only vacuum control. Yeah, you just have to make sure they're the right way around. If they're not, you will have a constant vacuum leak. This is the demonstration on the red car. I checked that one out as well. Trace the plumbing. You've got this module here, presumably the recirc switch intervenes and controls the 2 only pods in this system. They're controlling the flap at the fan entrance to the outside world. Presumably it switches between outside air and recirculated air. Unfortunately, I tested those, and the central red line basically holds no vacuum, so the diaphragms in those pods are ripped or perished. This is just me testing it now, and yeah, absolutely no vacuum is held on that red line. If these pods are still available, which I strongly doubt, I will replace them in my red car. I'm not going to change them in my blue-black car. I never turn the air conditioner off, so I don't see the point in changing them. And I don't want to remove the dash on a car that's this original, because no doubt the A-pillar trims will get destroyed. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. It's never been an issue for me. I'll just leave it. So this is the donor switch installed, and thankfully I now have all 4 fan speeds. Such a simple task is a 100% success. Now, this wasn't the only fan speed switch that I got. I actually got 2 others, so I'm well covered, and I have 3 spare operation panels as well. They are the later version with the EC button instead of the snowflake switch, but apparently it's backwards compatible, so that's what's going into the red car. I'm not going to go fancy and put these strange LEDs in it like I did in the grey car. I will leave it factory. But this was a 100% success. Regarding the vacuum leak, all you have to do is leave the fan switch between 1 and 0, and you have constant outside airflow. This is just a demonstration of the original switch in the grey car. It's not a case of the contacts being dirty. Unfortunately, the contact for position 2 has fatigued, and it's no longer very springy against where it needs to touch against. So it's basically just floating in the air. And when any serious current is applied to it, well, it just acts as an open circuit.